Hello, Mr. Monjares. How are you doing?
I'm okay, ma'am. I'm just really nervous, and I'm just sorry for being here in front of you again.
No. All right. So, Mr. Monjares,
Yes, ma'am.
you have an attorney, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Your attorney is trying to do what's best for you. You're scheduled for a DDRF screening. So that's going to take until October 24th. Now, I like for people who appear before me to have all the benefits they can possibly have to be successful on probation.
Sure.
A motion to revoke has been filed against you, and I'm not going to go into your case facts or anything of that nature because your attorney is not here. But what I can tell you is that you're on deferred adjudication for aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. The range of punishment for that case, if you were to be found guilty and if you were to be revoked, is up to 20 years in the prison.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, probation has informed the court that there may be some mental health issues with you. So we're trying to get you evaluated. So they're telling me that in the process, next up is the DDRF.
Yes, Judge, it would be the final, the Tacoma evaluation
Mhm.
For DDRF to see if they would recommend him for that.
Yes.
And that is scheduled October the 17th of this year.
So that is scheduled for October 17th. So maybe they'll complete it before then. I don't know, but they're telling me October 17th. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring you back on October 24th. Now,
Yes, ma'am.
let me just explain to you. There are one or two things that are going to happen today. Either you're going to accept the fact that you will be brought back on October 24th at the latest, or maybe sooner, or either you're going to want to go forward with this motion to revoke. I will hear it. I will hear it without that evaluation. I will make my decision based upon what I have before me, not based upon, oh, this evaluation isn't done, and maybe there's something out there that can help him. Do you understand?
I believe so, yes, ma'am.
So what do you want to talk to me about?
Yeah, basically, I've explained everything that right now you explained everything that I was wondering. That's what I was trying to talk with everybody about. I just wanted to get in front of you and show you some of the progress like that I've been doing while in there.
Okay, I'll look at your progress.
Um,
What have you been doing?
I took a anger management class that I got a certificate in.
Okay.
I started a social values class. I have a transition plan that my counselor teacher had made.
Mhm.
If you want to see that,
Okay.
and it's just that way you can see like I'm been trying to make the most of my time, and
I will tell you what, I appreciate that because sometimes you have people who are waiting at the jail and there are programs available and they don't try to take advantage of the programs or enroll in it. So I appreciate that. So when we come back on the 24th or maybe sooner, make sure that you bring that paperwork with you. Make sure you let your attorney know, and I will definitely consider it in whatever I decide to do.
yes, man. And I just wanted to thank you too, just because this is the first time I've been in custody,
Mhm.
and I'm not able to be a trustee because of my child. I'm a trustee in the pod,
Mhm.
but I'm not able to work like
Mhm.
in the jail because of my charge. And so this is the first time I've had so many resources. Like my teacher, she's a great help.
Mhm.
She's giving me so many resources that y'all offer, the city offers, and I really would like. That's what I was trying to. I'm sorry, I'm a little nervous.
No.
That's what I was trying to be able to take advantage of if I get another chance. When I get done whatever I need to get done in the future.
Mhm.
I freaked out that there's schooling programs that will help you. They pay you just to see if you qualify. So
Yes.
that way, because I was struggling to pay my stuff before, and I mean, there's so many resources. I just want to thank you for that, though, and I just want to be able to get in front of you and tell you thank you. And I mean, I appreciate Mr. Brooks too. He's doing a great job.
Oh, you're welcome.
Sorry
Thank you.
for disrupting or whatever I did to slow the court down today.
No. But let me just tell you, I am here to hear cases. I'm here to listen to people. My main goal is to treat everybody as an individual because it's pretty easy to just lump people in a group together.
Yes,
So I
ma'am.
always see people as individuals. And I appreciate the fact that you're doing things at the jail to better yourself. So we'll be back. You can mark it on your calendar. The latest we will be here is October 24th. But if everything is completed before then, we'll be here before then. So you can circle that on your calendar. Unless something happens where I'm not here, we will be back on the 24th, and Ms. Ferguson has marked it. Ms. Ferguson, can you give him a reset form even though he's in custody? So he'll have the 24th date and we'll be back at that time.
Okay,
All right.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Am I able to give a copy of my certificate to my mom? She's here right now.
Oh, if you'll give me, Deputy, are you able to give his mother his certificates?
It's you could close that folder, and it's gonna be that copy right there.
And where is your mom?
I believe she's talking with my lawyer right now.
Okay.
I just wanted to show her that I'm tired of. You had talked to me last time about my daughter and everything, and I got a really good support system. I'm lucky to have, and I was running for I believe 2 years,
Mhm.
and I don't wish that on anybody really, and
Okay.
the opportunity to be able to get an ID finally and like do some schooling and start some positive things. Like I just want to show her the little steps and stuff. Like
Okay.
they moved me from where I was starting the class, and so I wasn't able to continue them. But my teacher, I emailed her on the kiosk and she set up video visits for me.
Okay.
So
All right. Awesome.
yeah,
All right. Thank you so much.
Judge, may we approve?
Yes.
thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Oh, you don't need to be on the record for this. Sure. All right. Adolph from Lopez. All right. What is the status of him?
So Judge, he is currently on the wait list for DDRF.
Mhm.
And I believe he's been in custody for some time, and at this time, my understanding is a supplemental report had been submitted regarding some concerns about placing him at DDRF.
All right. Do you happen to have the supplemental?
I don't think she printed it, Judge. I think we're trying to be quiet during the bench trial.
Oh, no problem. You know, this Friday is becoming a Monday, as Deputy Laura would say, a Monday on steroids. But that's okay. You know what? We're going to be happy because it's Friday. I have one report from DDRF, but that's not the updated one.
July 14th.
No, I have this, but I don't think that's.
I printed it front and back.
Oh, no problem. We're saving trees. So, okay. So Mr. Brooks, now I remember this time when I saw that. If y'all will have mentioned that the governmental organization, if you all would have mentioned those three initials, I would have said, oh, now I remember it. All right. And so this is why you're here, Mr. Brooks. So he obviously, Mr. Lopez, there are obviously some mental health issues with you. The only question is, what can be done to help you with your mental health issues? There was a recommendation for state ISF cognitive treatment track for 90 days, but I don't think that will solve the problem. Defense?
Well, Judge, I can tell you, I was recently appointed
Yes.
to help Adolph here. I've spoken with him this morning for probably about 30, 40 minutes. I don't have any competency concerns with him, Judge. He's lucid. He's understanding of the process. He's objectionable to treatment. And I think that's clear in the SR as well, Judge. He's scheduled to go to DDRF, but I think they have some concerns about whether he would be appropriate there.
All right, well, if you think he's competent, we could send him to state ISF cognitive.
The only concern I have as attorney is the wait time for that is 2 months currently. He's been sitting for, according to him, about 5 months as of today.
All right, so here's the court's problem, and I understand he's been sitting there for 5 months, and I understand that legally there's some issues that we're going to run into if he's there for a little bit longer. From the reports I'm reading, Mr. Lopez, it's not safe to release you in society. I mean, if I put you on GPS, you can cut the GPS off. And what I can tell you is, I've read the report. FBI has some issues with you. They're saying that you called to threaten the FBI. And when the FBI investigates, that's very serious. I'm not taking it as true, but I'm just telling you the report that I've received is that there were threats made to the FBI San Antonio field office.
I believe they were non-threatening in nature, if I remember the.
No, it says that he stated he was famous. He explained that the FBI was killing his father underneath a bridge. And then he called back later and threatened to kill 2 FBI Operations Center personnel receiving the calls and threatened to blow up the FBI San Antonio field office. And then they said he made 8 additional telephone calls to the FBI Center, San Antonio Operations Center.
I apologize, Judge, I missed that middle part. Top 2 and the bottom.
No problem. So that's my problem. So we need to find a placement for him, or either the state is going to file a motion to revoke based upon the threats at the FBI. So defense, I know I recently had you appointed to this because of all of these issues that are coming together. If you would like, I can recall it back in a week or 2 weeks, if that'll give you some time to figure out what to do with him. Mr. Lopez, I know you're shaking your head. I know you want to be out, but here's the problem. You're on deferred, let me see, either deferred or regular probation for retaliation. Retaliation means that you're threatening someone because of something. I'm just telling you what you're on probation for. So you can't say, oh, I didn't do that, because guess what? You're already on probation for it. You pled to it. So you're on probation for retaliation, and you are on deferred adjudication. So the range of punishment is up to 10 years in prison. I just received a supplemental report when we were trying to get your mental health issues solved, that one, you threatened the FBI San Antonio field office. That's what your attorney may not want you to speak. So the only options. These are the options the court has before it right now, and they're not good options for you. One, the state can file a motion to revoke and include these threats to the FBI. They'll call somebody down from the FBI center location. Either they'll show up or they won't show up. Or I give your attorney a reset so that we can figure out what would be a good placement for you. I don't think putting you on GPS is a good idea because you can always cut it off. I don't think you've internalized why you're here. Then we have the whole issue where your gang affiliation, that's another issue. If it's true or not, I don't know. They say you're documented. So we have that with the threats to the FBI and the fact that you're on deferred adjudication for retaliation. Now, I'm trying to get you some help with your mental health issues. DDRF saying they're not going to accept you because you say you don't have a drug issue. I personally believe you do. And I believe the drug issue is sort of like the precursor for the mental health issues. I think if the drug issue were solved, then we could get to the mental health issues. So that's where we are. So counsel, if you can come up with the state with an idea of placement for him, I don't know where that would be. And probation, if you could come up with some ideas, I don't know where that would be.
Judge, I had explained to Mr. Brooks that, the reason that probation is making the recommendation for state ISF is that, because he is resistant to treatment.
Mhm.
And even though he doesn't meet criteria for EDRF, they believe that his history of behavior, with probation would indicate that he would be more successful in state ISF.
All right, so this is what we'll do. Mr. Brooks, I'm going to put him down for state ISF. Ms. Ferguson, he's going to be for state ISF. Could you put a phantom setting in 3 weeks? And in 3 weeks, if Mr. Brooks and everybody is able to come up with a different inpatient facility for him, then the court will consider that. But make it a phantom setting so that it doesn't stop him. And if you give me the state ISF number, see if they can skip him ahead.
So the only issue is he needs to do the medical and legal clearance first.
Okay,
And so he doesn't have any pending charges from the FBI stuff that I'm aware of.
Mhm.
So I don't see that being an issue. I'm not sure where he is on medical, so.
all right. Can you see if they can do a rush on that?
Yeah, I can ask. I
Yes.
just don't know what the process is.
All right. So if you can ask them to see if they can do a rush on that so that he won't be there that long. And then, Mr. Brooks, we can come back in 2 weeks and see where we are.
I missed the conversation.
Uh-huh.
I'm sorry.
No problem. No, I understand. So this is what we'll do. I'm going to recommend him that he go to state ISF cognitive. I'm going to have them put a phantom date in the system so that won't hold him up. I'm going to see if she can call and have them do a rush on his medical screening. And then I will call state ISF, see if they can put him at the top of the list so he can go there. His only other option is for you to find some sort of inpatient placement for him. Other than that, if not, then the state, if they want to file a motion to revoke, they can file a motion to revoke and the court will hear it.
Judge, can I proffer something for him?
Sure.
He would very much like his expressed desires for the court to release him. He doesn't want to go to treatment.
All right, so this is what we'll do. Mr. Lopez, your attorney is telling me that you're competent. The probation, I want him to go to state ISF. If he refuses to file the form, file a motion to revoke, and then we'll hear a motion to revoke.
Understood, Judge.
So we're going to do that today. All right, and whenever you all are ready on the plea, just let me know. And why do I have Jose Gonzalez? Who's the attorney for Jose Gonzalez? Yes, please. Thank you so much. Oh, no, he can come up. Hello, Mr. Gonzalez. How are you doing this morning?
Good, Your Honor.
You ready? Court is calling 2023 CR 6424, State of Texas versus Jose Gonzalez. Could I have parties announced for the record for the state?
Yeah, Jack, why did you tell her to come and
For the
bend
state?
back my thumb?
Sure.
That's what she said. You said.
All right, state's attorney. For the state?
That was nice to say that.
Defense?
We're ready.
State your name for the record.
Joe Stenberg.
All right, and are you Jose Gonzalez?
Yes, Your Honor.
Counsel, you received all the discovery and did you review it with your client?
Yes,
Court will find that the state is in compliance with discovery. Mr. Gonzalez, I'm showing you what's entitled Application for Community Supervision. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. And did you sign it?
Yes, Your Honor.
Showing you what's entitled True Bill of Indictment. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, Your Honor.
Counsel, do you waive the reading of the indictment?
we waive.
State, it appears that you're proceeding on the indictment as presented. Is that correct?
That is correct, Your Honor.
Mr. Gonzalez, I'm showing you what's entitled Court Admonishments. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you understand you're charged with unauthorized use of a vehicle? That's a state jail felony. Range of punishment is anywhere from 180 days up to 2 years in the state jail facility and up to a $10,000 fine. Did you understand,
Yes, Your Honor.
Travis? If you have a plea bargain agreement with the state, the court does not have to follow your plea. If for any reason the court doesn't follow your plea and gives you more than you bargained for, the fact that you entered a plea will not be used against you and you will be allowed to withdraw your plea. Did you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call and the right to remain silent?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you understand by entering this plea, you were giving up those rights?
Yes, Your Honor.
And did you intend to give up those rights and enter into a plea in this case?
Yes, Your Honor.
Counsel, has your client been able to provide you with any defenses?
He has.
Do you believe he has a rational as well as a factual understanding of the charges against him?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you believe he's currently competent and was legally sane at the time of the offense?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Gonzalez, has anyone threatened you, coerced you, or placed you in fear to get you to enter this plea?
No, Your Honor.
Anyone promised you anything other than the plea?
No.
Satisfied with the way you've been represented?
Yes.
Are you a U.S. citizen?
Yes, Your Honor.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived his right to jury trial. Showing you the plea bargain page. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, Your Honor.
According to the plea, punishment is to be assessed at 2 years in the state jail facility. There's a $1,500 fine, no application for deferred adjudication. State recommends community supervision. There's to be restitution to Nina N. Is it Nina or Nira? Just one moment. Oh, Nira, Neira Perry. Did you understand that to be the plea?
Yes, Your Honor.
Defense, is that the plea?
Yes, Your Honor.
State, is that the plea? Showing you the waiver of appeal paragraph. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you sign it in both places?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you understand by signing that you're waiving your right to appeal? The only items that can be appealed are written pretrial motions that have been filed, heard, and ruled upon by the court. Did you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Counsel, have there been any such motions?
No, Your Honor.
Next, I'm showing you outside the plea bargain agreement. The state is requesting that your community supervision be for a term of 2 years. There be a TAP evaluation and 150 hours community service restitution. Did you understand those were recommendations from the state and the court does not have to follow those recommendations?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Then to the offenses charge, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
No contest.
State any evidence?
Mr. Honor, State Overstates Exhibit 1 and its attachments.
No objection, Your Honor.
Mr. Gonzalez, I'm showing you what's entitled waiver and consent to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes, Your Honor.
Again, did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call in the right to remain silent?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you understand that today the state will be presenting evidence in the form of witnesses' statements and police reports, but most importantly, there will be no live testimony? Did you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived and consented to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. Court will accept into evidence states exhibits 1 and attachments and review the same. After reviewing states exhibits 1 and attachments, the court will find there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty and the court will find you guilty. Are you proceeding with sentencing?
Yes, Your Honor.
Anything you wish to say on behalf of your client, Mr. Stenberg?
He acknowledges what he did. Basically, what he's asking for is second chance to be out in the community. He's been in jail now quite a while. And he doesn't want to be there again.
All right.
I've explained to him the consequences if he violates the conditions, and he says he understands. And he does not intend to be back in front of you on this case.
All right. So what's your gang affiliation, Mr. Gonzalez?
I'm not in no gun.
What are these tattoos about?
I got it when I was a younger kid.
All right. And the facial tattoos?
Yes.
When you were young, how old were you?
Oh, these,
Yes.
just last year.
I'm sorry.
Last year, I had this,
Who did it?
in the free road.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to want a gang evaluation. Do you have any children?
8,
What are their ages?
4, 5, 7, 8, 10, 13, 16.
All right. Have you had any contact with them?
Yes. Yes, Your Honor.
Are you in their life?
Yes, Your Honor.
How far did you go in school?
I graduated
All right.
diploma.
Any drug issues?
No.
Have you ever used drugs?
Yes, Your Honor.
What have you used?
Marijuana
And,
and alcohol.
and,
That's it.
all right. Have you ever seen a psychiatrist or anything, or mental health issues?
I'm sorry, what did you say?
Psychiatrists or mental health issues?
No, Your Honor.
When's the last time you were employed?
Employed 2 months ago.
Doing what?
Subcontracting.
What does that mean?
Remodeling. Subcontractor. Remodeling houses.
Who do you live with?
Oh, now I'm gonna live with my wife and kids.
Does she want you there?
Yes, Your Honor.
Has she visited you at the jail or called you?
Yes, Your Honor. Call her every day.
Has Child Protective Services been in your life?
No, Your Honor.
Right, and she's not on housing or anything, right?
No, Your Honor. She works.
All right. And the reason why I ask that, because sometimes you have people who have been in custody go live with their wife and they're on housing. And if they're on housing, I know they're on housing because they're not supposed to, I know when they're on housing, they're not supposed to have an adult male living in the house because then that causes,
We have our own house.
okay. All right, no, that's good. And so are all the children there with her?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, this is what the court is going to do. Court is going to sentence you to 2 years in the state jail facility, suspended and probated for 2 years. There's a $1,500 fine that will be probated. There's to be restitution and no contact with Nira Perry. I'm going to want a gang evaluation that can be done out of court. 150 hours of community service restitution. I'm going to want parenting classes. Once he's completed the parenting classes, then those restitution hours will be deemed satisfied. Proof of employment within 30 days of release. There's to be no employment as a home health care provider or with minors. There's to be no unsupervised contact with minors. So what that means is your wife cannot say, hey, I need to go to the grocery store. I need you to watch the children. I will consider lifting that no unsupervised contact once you started with your parenting classes. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
There's to be regular reporting by Zoom or in person. Random monthly UAs. And I'm going to want field visits 1 time per month until further notice. Probation, is there anything else he needs? Is there anything else you need from the court to be successful?
No, Your Honor.
All right, I'm going to show you what's entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendants' Rights to Appeal. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it? And did you sign it?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, because this is a plea bargain agreement, because I followed your plea bargain agreement, and because you waived your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. And because this is a felony conviction, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition. If you have a question over what a weapon or ammunition is, you'll need to speak to an attorney. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, we can go off the record. Your attorney tells me that you've been in jail for 2 months. So this is one of the questions you need to ask yourself. Was using this car without permission worth those 2 months? And if it wasn't, you shouldn't be doing it again. People don't like people to take their things that they work hard for. If you want things, then you need to work for it. And with regards to that car, if somebody is offering you a car, which they say your story's changed in the police report, if somebody is offering you a car, you need to make sure that that car is legal. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, from here on out, you need to ask yourself before you do anything, whenever you're thinking about doing something, is this something that could potentially result in me going to the state jail facility for 2 years? If it is, don't do it. If the answer is maybe, don't do it. You understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
And what do the tattoos on your eyelids say? Do I want to know?
No love?
Now, on his eyelids.
Oh, you're
Oh.
next.
You're next. What am I next at? That's why we're doing the gang evaluation. Was that painful to get your eyelids tattooed?
Yes, it was.
Why would you do that if it's so painful?
I was in a lot of pain and I went to feel more pain than I had.
All right. Can we do a MIC evaluation as well? So they're going to do a MIC evaluation. All right.
Was
All
that-
right.
No.
That's a mental health evaluation. You can discuss things with them if you have some internal pain that's going on. You can
No,
talk
but
to them.
but Pains are gone already.
All right. Well, just in case. All right. Because that's a permanent tattoo. All right. Thank you. All right. Court is calling 2023 CR 3464. State of Texas versus Layla Ray Ann Tanton. Can I have parties announced for the record for the state
Hank Wilkins for the state.
defense?
Charles May for the defense, Your Honor, ready.
Are you Ms. Tanton? Counsel, have you received all of the discovery? Did you review it with your client?
Yes, Your Honor, I have.
Court will find that the state is in compliance with discovery. Ms. Tanton, I'm showing you what's entitled application for deferred adjudication or community supervision. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it and did you sign it?
Yes, ma'am.
Next, I'm showing you what's entitled true bill of indictment. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, do you waive the reading of the indictment?
Yes, Your Honor.
State, are you proceeding on the indictment as presented?
Your Honor, we're waiving count 1 and proceeding on count 2, Judge.
Any objection?
No objections, Your Honor.
Ms. Tanton, I'm showing you what's entitled court admonishments and defendants waivers and affidavit of admonitions. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand in count 2, you're charged with the offense of possession of a controlled substance, penalty group 1, 4 grams to 200 grams. That's a second degree felony. The range of punishment is anywhere from 2 to 20 years in prison and up to a $10,000 fine. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
If you have a plea bargain agreement with the state, court does not have to follow your plea. If for any reason the court does not follow your plea and gives you more than you bargained for, the fact that you entered a plea will not be used against you and you will be allowed to withdraw your plea. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call in the right to remain silent?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand by entering this plea bargain agreement, you were giving up those rights?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you intend to give up those rights and enter into a plea in this case?
Yes.
Did you understand that the court would grant your application for deferred adjudication? If for any reason your deferred adjudication were revoked, the court could find you guilty, sentence you up to 20 years in prison and up to a $10,000 fine?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, has your client been able to provide you with any defenses?
Yes, Your Honor. She has.
Do you believe she has a rational as well as a factual understanding of the charges against her?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you believe she's currently competent and was legally sane at the time of the offense?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Tanton, has anyone threatened you, coerced you, or placed you in fear to get you to enter this plea?
No,
Anyone promised you anything other than the plea?
no, ma'am.
Satisfied with the way you've been represented?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you a U.S. citizen?
Yes, ma'am.
Court will find that the defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived her right to jury trial. Showing you the plea bargain page. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
According to the plea, state is proceeding on count 2 and they're recommending deferred adjudication. Did you understand that to be the plea?
Yes, ma'am.
Defense?
Yes, Your Honor.
State?
Yes, Your Honor.
Showing you the waiver of appeal paragraph. Did you review that paragraph with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you sign it in both places?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand by signing that you're waiving your right to appeal? The only items that can be appealed are written pretrial motions that have been filed, heard, and ruled upon by the court. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, have there been any such motions?
None, Your Honor.
Next, I'm showing you outside the plea bargaining agreement. The state is recommending that your deferred adjudication be for a term of 5 years. There'll be a TAP evaluation, 120 hours of community service restitution, and an evaluation for felony drug court. Did you understand those were recommendations from the state and the court does not have to follow those recommendations?
Yes, ma'am.
Then to count 2, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
Contest.
State, any evidence?
Your Honor, I offer State's Exhibit 1 and the attachments.
Any objections?
No objections, Your Honor.
All right, state, you may continue to confer. Ms. Tanton, I'm showing you what's entitled waiver and consent to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes, ma'am.
Again, did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call in the right to remain silent? Did you understand that today the state will be presenting evidence in the form of witnesses' statements and police reports, but most importantly, there will be no live testimony? Did you understand? Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived and consented to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. Court will accept into evidence states exhibits 1 and attachments, and the court will review the same. All right, after reviewing states exhibits 1 and attachments, the court will find there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty. Court will defer finding you guilty as you've applied for deferred adjudication. Are you proceeding with sentencing?
Yes, Your Honor.
Anything you wish to say on behalf of your client?
Your Honor, we would just ask that the court proceed with the deferred adjudication. My client is deeply remorseful of what she's done, her actions, Judge, and she would ask this court to follow the agreement that has been in place, Your Honor.
All right, how old are you?
I'm 21.
21.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any children?
I have a daughter.
How old?
She'll be 4 November 6th.
And where is she?
She is with my mother in Houston.
Is Child Protective Services involved?
Oh, ma'am, I have full custody, no CPS cases.
Well, did you give up your rights to your mom?
No, I did temporary guardianship. My daughter has.
I'm sorry, could you?
I said, I gave temporary guardianship. My daughter.
All right,
has-
everyone, please whisper.
My
yes.
daughter has juvenile rheumatoid arthritis, so she gets the best medical care over in Houston. My mom works at the hospital, so.
How far did you go in school?
I went all the way into my junior year, and I did cosmetology school and completed all my hours.
Okay. So when's the last time you had employment?
I worked at Golden Chick. I would say it was March. It was March through April.
And what does your mom do at the hospital?
My mom is head coordinator of San Jack Methodist.
And do you have any other siblings?
Yes, I have a brother and a sister. A
All
younger
right.
brother
And what does your brother and sister do?
My brother is a barber. He's in barber school, and my sister is going to be graduating high school in about a year and a half.
All right. And who is this Michael Martin to you?
It's my ex-fiance.
What is that ex-fiance since this happened? Before you were arrested, how often were you doing meth?
I wasn't one.
Okay, I find that hard to believe. I don't think you're just doing marijuana. I think there's more to it. And let me just tell you why I say that. I say that because I've read the police report. So I think it's more than marijuana. And I'm going to tell you something right now. One, I'm inclined to go along with this deferred adjudication. If you tell me you don't have a meth problem, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to send you out into the world. I'm going to make a notation that you said you didn't have a meth problem. And you know what's going to end up happening? If you go out into that world and you're going to be drug tested, and when you're drug tested, you test positive for meth, I'm not going to want to hear that, oh, I have a meth problem, because I'm asking you right now to be honest with me so I can set conditions so that perhaps you can get your life together. Perhaps you can be in your daughter's life, because right now, the only thing you're doing is hanging around with a fiance who has parole violations. Did you know he had a criminal past?
I did, ma'am.
And you still thought, let me get with this guy who has a criminal past. I have a 4-year-old daughter who has medical needs, but eventually, because this guy is my fiance, this is the guy who I think would be great to be in her life. A person who's only doing marijuana doesn't believe that. Someone who's doing meth and other things believes that, because you're just trying to get your next fix. And if Michael Martin has parole and has been to, which if he's on parole, that means that he's been to prison. And if you think somebody who's been to prison with the charges that they have in this police report that he's on parole for, if you think that's a good person to be in your daughter's life, that tells me you're doing more than marijuana. So this is the last time I'm going to ask you, and we can pretend like this is the first time I'm asking you, if that will help you be honest with the court. How often are you using meth?
I stopped using meth. I did that for my daughter and because I was going to lose my family.
So when did you start using meth?
Started whenever I got with my fiance.
So why are you before the court pretending like you don't do math and you've never done math?
I'm not pretending like I haven't done it. I just.
Now you're playing semantics with me and I don't appreciate that because I clearly asked you how often you were using meth. I know you're not using meth today because you're in court and the deputies would not have brought you over with the items to do meth in the box. I asked you how often were you using meth and you said, I don't use meth. I haven't used meth. That's what you said. And you're playing games with me and I don't appreciate that. I already knew you used meth because that's in the police report. Nobody is driving around with this much meth in the car unless you're using it or unless you're selling it. And obviously there was an issue with you because I don't know why people are driving around San Antonio smoking a blunt in the car and you think the police are not going to pull you over. All right. Is there anything else?
Nothing. Thank you.
This is what the court is going to do. The court is going to sentence you to 6 years deferred adjudication. We're going to do a TAP evaluation in custody. Follow all recommendations of TAP. If they recommend inpatient treatment, she's going to inpatient treatment. Is felony drug court full?
Your Honor, they are classified evaluations. They will be accepting clients, however, they don't have funding yet, so the clients will be limited.
All right, we'll do a referral to felony drug court. If felony drug court accepts her, she can go there. There's going to be 120 hours of community service restitution. I'm going to want her in intensive parenting classes. Once she completes that, the community service hours will be deemed satisfied. There's to be no contact with Michael Martin. There's to be no unsupervised contact with minors, and that includes her own child. There's to be regular reporting by Zoom or in person. Regular UAs. No, I'm sorry, not regular UAs. We're going to do the UA hotline. When you're released, where are you going to be staying? Who are you going to be staying with? Do you have a place to stay?
I have my own house here.
All right. There's going to be field visits one time per month until further notice. Proof of employment within 45 days of release. There's to be no employment as a home health care provider or with minors. And she either needs to get her GED or complete some type of trade so you can get employment and get employment where you can take care of yourself and take care of your daughter. You understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
So she needs some sort of trade school or either GED. And what I can tell you, because you have this charge, anything, any occupation that requires a license, you need to let them know about this because for some, they're not going to give you a certificate or anything because you have this felony. Do you understand? So before you waste money, ask them if that's going to be a problem. Probation, is there anything else she needs? Right. Is there anything else you need from the court in order to be successful on this deferred adjudication?
No, ma'am.
Okay. I'm going to show you what's entitled trial court certification of defendants' rights to appeal. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it and did you sign it?
Yes.
All right, because this is a plea bargain agreement, because I followed your plea bargain agreement and because you waived your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Do you understand?
Yes.
All right, State, with regards to this case, there were weapons. One weapon I think is stolen. So is there any destruction of the weapon?
I believe those were the co-defendant. The co-defendant was charged with that, judge, but I can confirm.
All right, thank you. So if those are your weapons, they're going to be destroyed. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, we can go off the record. What is this tattoo on your neck about?
Dollar sign.
Why do you have a dollar sign on your neck?
I do my own tattoos. Practice.
But no, why would you put a dollar sign? It has to mean something.
Everybody likes money.
All right, and Vashawn, I forgot on her, we're gonna need a MIC evaluation and also also a gang evaluation. What is up with the weapon on your tattooed on your arm
Did it myself.
and the snake?
I didn't do this thing.
All right, what is that about?
My cousin passed away in a car accident that we were both in, and her last name was Rose, so I guess Rose.
All right, and what is the other name underneath your arm?
I'm on my daughter.
Okay. All right, yes.
Judge, that she did have a UCW handgun from the same incident date in County Court 9. But she got a JSAT on that, but I can email those prosecutors to.
Destroy the weapon.
Yes.
All right. Now, let me just tell you, your 4-year-old daughter, she can't go out into the world and make her own choices, right? That's why she's living with your mom. She doesn't have employment. She can't take care of herself. And usually children don't make great decisions, especially at that age, because they want what they want. If you give them candy, guess what? They want candy all the time, right? So your 4-year-old is depending on you to make good decisions, your mom to make good decisions, and you're not. I don't know what you were thinking that you would think it would be okay to bring a fiance in your daughter's life who's been to prison, obviously is not rehabilitated because you all are driving around smoking blunts in a car and he has a parole warrant. You need to either make a decision that you're going to be a good influence and a good parent to your 4-year-old, or either 100% get out of her life. Do you understand? Yes.
Your Honor, I just want to confirm if she resides here in Bear County or.
Oh, she's going to be here in Bear County. She will not be in Houston. Okay. All right. Thank you. Are we ready? Yep. Court is calling 2023 CR 5520, State of Texas versus Cameron Moore. Can I have parties announced for the record for the state? Defense?
Cornelius Cox.
Yes, come forward. Are you Cameron Moore?
This.
Counsel, have you received all of the discovery and did you review it with your client?
Yes.
Court will find that the state is in compliance with discovery. Mr. Moore, I'm showing you what's entitled application for community supervision or deferred adjudication. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it and did you sign it?
Yes, sir.
Showing you what's entitled true bill of indictment. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, sir.
Counsel, do you waive the reading of the indictment?
Yes, sir.
State, are you proceeding on the indictment as presented?
Your Honor, we're proceeding on count 1 and waiving, proceeding on count 2, waiving count 1, and then we weren't going to proceed on the deadly weapon enhancement.
Okay.
All right. Going to show you what's entitled court admonishments and defendants waivers and affidavit of admonitions. Did you review that with your attorney?
Yes, sir.
Did you understand it? Did you sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes, sir.
Did you understand the state is proceeding on the offense of deadly conduct firearm as a 3rd-degree felony? Range of punishment is anywhere from 2 to 10 years in prison and up to a $10,000 fine.
Yes, sir.
If you have a plea bargain agreement with the state, the court does not have to follow your plea. If for any reason the court does not follow your plea and gives you more than you bargained for, the fact that you entered a plea will not be used against you and you will be allowed to withdraw your plea. Did you understand?
Yes, sir.
Did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call and the right to remain silent?
Yes, sir.
Did you understand that today by entering this plea, you were giving up those rights?
Yes, sir.
Did you intend to give up those rights and enter into a plea in this case?
Yes, sir.
Did you understand if the court were to grant your application for deferred adjudication, if for any reason your deferred adjudication were revoked, the court could find you guilty and sentence you up to 10 years in prison and up to $10,000 fine?
Yes, sir.
Counsel, has your client been able to provide you with any defenses?
Yes, sir.
Do you believe he has a rational as well as a factual understanding of the charges against him?
Yes, sir.
Do you believe he's currently competent and was legally sane at the time of the offense?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Moore, has anyone threatened you, coerced you, or placed you in fear to get you to enter this plea?
No.
Anyone promised you anything other than the plea?
No.
Are you satisfied with the way you've been represented?
Yes, sir.
Are you a U.S. citizen?
Yes, sir.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived his right to jury trial. Showing you the plea bargain page. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, sir.
According to the plea, state is proceeding on count 2. There is to be a $600 fine, They're opposing your application for deferred adjudication. They're recommending community supervision. They're taking in consideration 2023 CR 5563. There's to be restitution payable to Blaine, Blaine, Sprayberry, Sprayberry, and you are to forfeit the weapon. Did you understand that to be the plea? Defense?
Yes, sir.
State?
Yes, Your Honor.
Showing you waiver of appeal paragraph. Did you review that paragraph with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you sign it in both places? Did you understand by signing that you're waiving your right to appeal? The only items that can be appealed are written pretrial motions that have been filed, heard, and ruled upon by the court. Did you understand?
Yes, sir.
Counsel, have there been any such motions?
No, yeah.
Next, I'm showing you outside the plea bargain agreement. The state is requesting that your supervision be for a term of 8 years. There'll be a top evaluation. No contact with Stout, Stout, Ice House, and Blaine Sprayberry. Did you understand those were recommendations from the state, and the court does not have to follow those recommendations?
Yes, sir.
Then to the offenses charged in count 2, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest? State any evidence
State all proceeds exhibit 1 and all attachments.
No objections.
showing you what's entitled waiver and consent to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes, sir.
Again, did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call in the right to remain silent?
Yes, sir.
Did you understand that today the state will be presenting evidence in the form of witnesses' statements and police reports, but most importantly, there will be no live testimony? Did you understand?
Yes, sir.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived and consented to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. Court will accept into evidence states exhibits 1 and attachments and review the same. All right, after reviewing states exhibits 1 and attachments, the court will find there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty. The court will defer finding of guilt as you've applied for deferred adjudication. State, have you contacted the complainant?
So we have previously contacted the complainant. We did not notify him about the specific plea bargain, Judge. He was aware that it was a possibility. He voiced to us what he wished to have happen and still made the offer, Judge.
All right, and does the defendant have criminal history?
No, Judge.
All right, do y'all wish to proceed with sentencing?
Yes, sir.
All right, anything you wish to say on behalf of your client? Briefly?
Briefly, it's hard to be brief, but just for the record, Judge's mom is seated in the back. You know, seems to be a good, you know, not somebody that goes out looking for trouble or problems. You know, we're aware just that sometimes these problems are created because just the mere fact that he get the weapon in the fight. But it appears that you know, my client had to go to the hospital himself because he was choked during the process. You know, while he was being helped, choked to a point where they wouldn't even accept him at the jail because his eyes were kind of bulging out of his head. And that was his concern, his mom's concern. But he understands in talking to him the things that he needs to do. He's expecting a child soon, and he wants to do something good with his life. So yeah, I can kind of say, based on my knowledge of him and dealing with him, he's going to be a model citizen after that. It's just a situation where something after he called himself trying to help a friend, and one thing just led to another. He didn't in his story, he didn't act point weapon, but once he brought it out just to kind of calm things down, but it didn't calm things down. So we just want
I've discovered weapons never calm things down. Weapons tend to escalate things.
Yes.
I just learned that.
So how old are you?
24 and on.
And this child that you have on the way, that's the only child?
Yes, sir.
How far did you go in school?
High school, but I thought about college. I just wasn't sure if it was for me because that's why I decided to just make my own LLC.
But I can't hear you.
Just high school, but I was thinking of doing college, but I just never decided to because I wanted to do things like do something most people don't do, which is like come up without college, which is I made my own LLC. But I talked to my attorney, he's told me that I should actually just focus on
I'm sorry,
college.
sir, can you repeat what you just said you talked to?
Talked to my attorney, and he's recommended, he's opened my eyes to school to go to college for my business, so I can actually do better in my business.
And this incident, what time did it happen?
2 a.m.
Nothing good happens after midnight. Sometimes when you're at your own home, things are not good that's happening at midnight. You know why? Because if you're awake at your home after midnight, that means that you have insomnia.
Yes, sir.
And when you're at a club and it's after midnight, nothing good happens. And I already know in this day and age, people don't start leaving their house till 10:30 p.m. to go to the club. Nothing good happens at the club. And you know what ends up happening? People usually start drinking before they get to the club. And then there's more drinking after the club. Then people lose their mind.
Yeah.
If you'd have been at home, you wouldn't even been here.
Yeah.
Do you live with your mom?
Yeah, I do this for sure.
Were you living with your mom then?
No, I actually wasn't. No.
Who were you living with?
I was just staying at a friend's because I was just trying to he was helping me with my business. We're trying to, he's on the LLC as well.
Okay,
But
you're gonna have to slow it down and open your mouth and speak up so the court reporter can hear.
my apologies. I was staying at my friend's house, but she's also in the business with me, the LLC, but it didn't work out either for him either. So I went back to my mom
Why didn't it work out for him either?
because they kind of like on the studio, so it was like they had like loud complaints and everything, noise complaints and everything. So and it wasn't something I wouldn't even want to be in certain situations when we're out there.
So you would prefer to leave your mom's house to go live at a studio apartment with somebody else?
Well, I should have one bedroom at the moment. So I just didn't want to impede on my mom as much as I've already her whole life. Well, my whole life. So I tried to be on my own for a while, but
the problem is you're 24, you should be on your own. And now you're having a child and you living with your mom. That's not a good situation.
that's for sure. I'm working on it right now though, like, because the girl I'm having a baby with, we're about to move out soon, like in a month or two, but the baby should be here in a month or two as well. So it's kind of like a race against time, but
Oh yeah, and I'm sure both you and her are depending on the baby's future grandparents to, you're not dependent on them for anything.
no,
Y'all already have daycare set up.
no, actually, I don't have that set up. But the only reason my mom wanted me to come back home to help me out because us staying place to place was costing too much instead of just staying at her home. That's why I'm really at that.
No, I mean, you've got to be an adult and you're not being an adult. Anytime you live with your mom,
Mhm.
I don't care if you're 40 years old, you're not grown, you're living with your mom. And so that means that your mom's rules apply.
Yes, sir.
And since you have a baby on the way, your mom and her maternal grandmother, they're supposed to just maybe babysit once in a while. They're not supposed to be raising your child. You understand?
I understand that now.
All right, this is what the court is going to do. Court is going to sentence you to 7 years deferred adjudication, $600 fine, that will be probated. Take in consideration 2023 CR 5563. There's to be restitution, if any, and no contact with, blame, Sprayberry, and you are not allowed to be at anybody's ice house, not just Stout Ice House. You're not allowed to go to any ice house or any place whose primary purpose is to sell alcohol. You understand?
Yes, sir.
You forfeited those rights.
Yes, sir.
So probation, yes?
I'm not too sure who James Fairbury is. Would that be like at some point, like?
The
told to me?
complainant who's listed in here. So there's to be no contact with any ice houses or any establishment with a primary business is the sale of alcohol. Proof of employment within 30 days. There's to be no employment as a home health care provider or with minors. 100 hours of community service restitution. I'm going to ask for parenting classes. Once those parenting classes are completed, the 100 hours community service restitution will be deemed satisfied. Regular reporting by Zoom or in person. And I'm going to want him to complete some sort of trade school or higher level education. And field visits one time per month for 3 months. And probation, if everything seems okay after that, then you can do field visits as you deem necessary. Probation is there. Oh, and he's to forfeit the weapon. And while you're on probation, you're not allowed to own weapons. You understand? Probation, is there anything else he needs? Is there anything else you need from the court to be successful on this probation?
No, Your Honor, I think you gave me everything I need and more.
All right, I'm going to show you what's entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendants' Rights to Appeal. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it? And did you sign it?
Oh, yes, Your Honor.
Because this is a plea bargain agreement, because I followed your plea bargain agreement, and because you waived your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
We can go off the record. Here's the thing. So many bad things could have happened that night. I'm sure your mother was devastated when she got the news that 1, you were at jail, and 2, the jail wouldn't even accept you because there were medical issues. Do you know, a parent's worst nightmare, I've been told, is when their children go out and then they get a phone call that their child has been in an accident or something has happened to their child. You will understand that when you have your child. So what you did was a big disappointment to your mom, and you put fear in her heart. You understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do not do that again. Do not come back to this court for disobeying the court's orders. If there is anything that you feel is not being addressed with your probation officer, you can come to court and we'll address it. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, good luck to you. You better do better.
Yes, Your Honor.
And thanks for dressing appropriately for court.
I want to thank you for letting me be able to see my son. I appreciate you.
Oh, you're welcome. Calling 2023 CR 8639W, State of Texas versus Stephen Carmona. Can I have parties announced for the record for the state?
Travis Banks, the state of Texas.
Defense,
Johnny Cisneros for Mr. Carmona.
are you Mr. Carmona?
I am, Your Honor.
Counsel, have you received all the discovery? Did you review it with your client?
I have, Your Honor.
Court will find that the state is in compliance with discovery. Next, I'm going to show you, Mr. Carmona, what is entitled Waiver of Indictment, Reading of Information and Rights under Article 1.051 and 26.03 of the Code of Criminal Procedure. Did you review that with your attorney?
I did, Your Honor.
Did you understand it? And did you sign it?
I did, Your Honor.
Did you understand you have a right to have a grand jury hear evidence in this case and make a decision on whether or not to indict?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you understand that your attorney has 2 days from the presentation of the information and 10 days from the presentation of the information to prepare for trial?
I do, Your Honor.
Did you understand by entering this plea bargain agreement, you were giving up those rights?
I do, Your Honor.
Did you intend to give up those rights and enter into a plea in this case?
Yes, Your Honor.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived indictment, reading of information and rights under Article 1.051 and 26.03 of the Code of Criminal Procedure. All right, and Mr. Cisneros, this is your copy.
Oh, thank you, Your Honor.
No problem. Mr. Carmona, I'm going to show you what's entitled Application for Deferred Adjudication or Community Supervision. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it?
I did, Your Honor.
And did you sign it?
Yes, I did.
Next, I'm going to show you what's entitled Information. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it?
I did, Your Honor.
Counsel, do you waive the reading of the information?
We do, Your Honor.
State, are you proceeding on the information as presented?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Carmona, I'm showing you what's entitled Court Admonishments to Defendants Waivers and Affidavit of Admonitions. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you sign it in all the appropriate places?
I did, Your Honor.
Did you understand by information you're being charged with repeated violation of a court order or bond condition family violence? That's a third-degree felony. The range of punishment is anywhere from 2 to 10 years in prison and up to a $10,000 fine. Did you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
If you have a plea bargain agreement with the state, the court does not have to follow your plea. If for any reason the court does not follow your plea and gives you more than you bargained for, the fact that you entered a plea will not be used against you, and you will be allowed to withdraw your plea. Did you understand?
I do.
Did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call in the right to remain silent?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you understand by entering this plea bargain agreement, you were giving up those rights?
I did, Your Honor.
Did you intend to give up those rights and enter into a plea bargain agreement in this case?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you understand if the court were to grant your application for deferred adjudication, if for any reason your deferred adjudication were revoked, the court could find you guilty and sentence you up to 10 years in prison and up to a $10,000 fine?
I do, Your Honor.
Counsel, has your client been able to provide you with any defenses?
He has, Your Honor.
Do you believe he has a rational as well as a factual understanding of the charges against him?
He does, ma'am.
Do you believe he is currently competent and was legally sane at the time of the offense?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Carmona, has anyone threatened you, coerced you, or placed you in fear to get you to enter this plea?
No, Your Honor.
Has anyone promised you anything other than the plea?
No, Your Honor.
Are you satisfied with the way you've been represented?
I have.
Are you a U.S. citizen?
Yes, I am, Your Honor.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived his right to jury trial. Showing you the plea bargain page. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it?
I do, Your Honor.
According to the plea, there's a $0 fine. State recommends deferred adjudication. They're taking in consideration CM 112993, and there's to be GPS tracking only. Did you understand that to be the plea?
I don't believe the GPS, I thought we talked about not having. No, but you had said no, so I said no.
Okay. We can remove the tracking.
All right, so there's no GPS tracking.
No
Yes.
GPS. That's right.
All right, did you understand that to be the plea?
Yes, ma'am.
Defense, is that the plea?
It is, Your Honor.
State, is that the plea?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Cremona, I'm showing you what's entitled waiver of appeal paragraph. Did you review that paragraph with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you sign it in both places?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand by signing that you're waiving your right to appeal? The only items that can be appealed are written pretrial motions that have been filed, heard, and ruled upon by the court. Did you understand?
I did, Your Honor.
Counsel, are there being such motions?
No, ma'am.
Next, I'm showing you outside the plea bargain agreement. State is requesting that your supervision be for a term of 6 years. There be a TAP evaluation, 100 hours of community service restitution, no contact with Linda, Lynda, Stephanie Cortinas Hernandez. Did you understand those are recommendations from the state and the court does not have to follow those recommendations?
Sure.
Then to the offenses charged by information, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
No contest.
State any evidence?
Yes, Your Honor. State offer State's Exhibit 1 and its attachments.
No objections, Your Honor.
And state, have you spoken to the complainant?
Yes, Your Honor. The state has spoken with the complainant and let her know that this is how we will proceed with the case.
All right. You may be excused to continue to confer. Mr. Carmona, I'm showing you what's entitled waiver and consent to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you sign it in all the appropriate places?
I did, Your Honor.
Again, did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state will call in the right to remain silent?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you understand that today the state will be presenting evidence in the form of witnesses' statements and police reports, but most importantly, there'll be no live testimony? Did you understand?
I did, Your Honor.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived and consented to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. Court will accept into evidence State's Exhibits 1 and attachments and review the same. All right, after reviewing states exhibits 1 and attachments, the court will find there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty. The court will defer finding of guilt as you've applied for deferred adjudication. Are you proceeding with sentencing?
We are, Your Honor.
All right, anything you wish to say on behalf of your client?
Your Honor, I just got to meet him a little while ago, and he seems like a fine young man. His parents are here. He's been brought up right. He's had a couple of issues before, nothing serious. But I think this is a good deal for him. It's a volatile situation that we have in front of us with his wife. And when we finish this, I'm gonna call his divorce attorney and let the divorce attorney know what's going on and how they need to proceed to protect him on my end.
All right, Mr. Carmona, are you employed?
I am, Mr. Chairman.
What do you do?
I'm a call center manager.
What does that mean? For which company?
So I work for Go Health. What we
Okay.
do is Medicare licensed agencies to enroll 65 and older.
All right, why do you keep showing up at Ms. Hernandez's place? She doesn't want you anymore.
A lot of things were just to assist with the children.
She doesn't want you anymore. Do you understand what protective orders mean?
Yes, ma'am.
That means that you can't have any contact. That means that when I read in the police report that you're at the apartment, she's not there, which means if she's not there, that means that there are no children there. How old are the children?
He's 4 years old.
He's 4. So when you went to her apartment and she wasn't there, there was no 4-year-old there. So don't come before me telling me that you're doing this because there are a lot of child things going along. You still want her. She doesn't want you. She doesn't want to be bothered by you. The only time you can see her is when you all are in civil court with the divorce. Do you understand?
I do. Yes,
How
ma'am.
old are you?
42.
You're 42 years old. How long were you married?
Almost 7 years.
7 years?
So
So that means that you've been alive on the planet longer than you've been married to her. Let it go. You're not a teenager. She doesn't want you. If you violate the conditions that I'm going to give you, what's going to end up happening is you're potentially going to prison for 10 years. Do you understand?
yes, ma'am.
Is there anything that you do not understand that I'm saying to you?
Oh, ma'am.
If you are at the HEB and you see her at the HEB on aisle 2 or whatever, you need to leave that HEB. If you see her walking down the street and you're walking on that same street, doesn't matter if you got there first, you need to leave that street. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
She does not want to be in a relationship with you. If you all are working out arrangements through your divorce where there's child arrangements, that needs to be done through a third party. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
And if she gets involved in another relationship with somebody else, not your business. Do you understand? Well, you say yes, but you're here for repeated violation of bond conditions and protective orders. She doesn't want you. You got to accept it and move it on. You understand?
Yes,
And
ma'am.
if on the inside you are breaking down and your heart is broken and you think it's broken in a million pieces and it will never recover, pretend like your heart is not broken and keep moving. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, this is what the court is going to do. There's a $0 fine, 6 years deferred adjudication. Take in consideration CM 112993. There's to be no contact with Linda, Stephanie, Martinez Hernandez. And when I say you have contact during court hearings, that's through your attorneys. So there's no out in the hallway, hey, let's be nice to each other. Let's work. No, you're not to have any conversations with her. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Unless it's court ordered. So there's to be no contact with Linda Stephanie Cortines Hernandez without a court order. Proof of employment within 30 days. No employment as a home health care provider or with minors. Regular reporting by Zoom or in person. Regular UAs. And I'm going to want a TAP evaluation with him. and to follow TAP recommendations. 100 hours of community service restitution. I'm going to order parenting classes. Once parenting classes are complete, the 100 hours community service restitution will be deemed satisfied.
Thank you.
All right. And Mr. Carmona, because of your history with this violation of protective order, I am going to give you GPS. I'll do tracking only. I'll waive the fees. Counsel, once he shows that he's able to obey court orders, come back in about 4 months. We'll see how he's doing. So GPS tracking, waive or defer fees. Are you going to be living with your parents? Where are you going to be staying?
My house,
You have your own place?
I have my own house.
All right, I'm going to want field visits 1 time per month until further notice. Probation, is there anything else he needs? Is there anything else you need from the court?
No, ma'am.
All right. Going to show you what's entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendants' Rights to Appeal. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it? And did you sign it?
I did, Your Honor.
Because this is a plea bargain agreement, because I followed your plea bargain agreement, and because you waived your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, we can go off the record from here on out. Everything that you do, you need to ask yourself 2 questions. One is, what I'm doing, could it potentially result in me going to prison for 10 years? If the answer is yes, don't do it. If the answer is maybe, don't do it. Do you understand? And I am serious about you not having any contact with her. I don't know. This is the last time I'm going to say it. She doesn't want you. She doesn't want to be in a relationship. She doesn't want a Valentine's Day card from you. She does not want a Happy Mother's Day card from you. Do not send that. And if you do any of those things, if you email her, if you text her, if you send a card, if you send flowers just because, if you send something saying, I apologize for the way I behave, and this divorce is my fault, that will be a violation. Do you understand?
I do, Your Honor.
And do not have third parties contacting her unless it's your parents or somebody approved by probation to make arrangements for child visitation. Do you understand?
I didn't know.
All right, good luck to you.
Thanks.
And,
Thank you.
and I was gonna ask that judge, if we could have the parents make connections with the mom for
For
visitation.
yes, for visitation, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Um,
Judge, may I ask you really quick on,
All right, can I see the parties on Terrence Lee Scott? Court is calling 2016 CR 8204, State of Texas versus Terrence Lee Scott. Can I have parties announced for the record for the state?
Brittany Mitchell for the state.
Defense?
Melissa Christian for the defendant.
Are you Terrence Lee Scott? Going to show you what's entitled Motion to Revoke Community Supervision and State's motion to supplement pending motion to revoke probation. Did you review those documents with your attorney? Did you understand them?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you the same Terrence Lee Scott who's placed on community supervision in 2016 CR 8204 for the offense of assault causing bodily injury, family violence enhanced on June 7, 2017 for a term of 4 years and extended for a total of 2 years and 4 months? Is that you?
Yes, ma'am.
State?
On or about the 14th day of June 2023 in Bear County, Texas, the defendant Terrence Lee Scott did then and there fail to submit to drug testing as directed by the court officer, supervision officer, and or a duly authorized agent of the court in violation of condition number 2.
Excuse me. Excuse me. Do not speak behind the court reporter when we're on the record. All right, to that violation of condition number 2, how do you plead? True or not true?
True.
On or about the 27th day of April 2023 in Bear County, Texas, the defendant Terrence Lee Scott did then and there fail to submit to drug testing as directed by the court officer, supervision officer, and or a duly authorized agent of the court in violation of condition number 2.
How do you plead to that? True or not true?
And Your Honor, at this time, we'll waive the remaining conditions.
Any objection?
No, Judge.
All right, could y'all please whisper in the box? Did you understand by pleading true to violations 2 and 2, the court could find it true, grant the motion, sentence you up to 10 years in prison and up to a $1,500 fine? Knowing that, do you still wish to plead true to violations 2 and 2? Court will find 2 and 2 true. Is there an agreement?
No, Judge.
All right, state, what are you requesting?
Your Honor, we're requesting revocation of the full term.
Defense, what are you requesting?
Judge, Mr. Scott has been on probation since June of 2017. He did not get a violation report for the first 2 years he was on probation. Since that time, there have been different alters and amends to address different issues with Mr. Scott. He has been working as a foreman with Tradesmen International, provides support to 4 children. He's had 403 cumulative days in jail. Mr. Scott is not opposed to getting any kind of drug or alcohol treatment. The problem is reporting weekly or having to submit weekly to UAs. He loses his job, and so that's been a complete issue for him. We're asking for some leniency from the court, for some thinking outside the box, which this court likes to do, and to assist Mr. Scott or to terminate him because he expires tomorrow. And I realize they filed the MTR in time. I'm not making that argument. I'm just saying that he's basically been on 6 years probation for a 4-year term.
Right. But here's the problem, Mr. Scott. The reason why you have the number of times you need to report is because you violate your probation. I don't add conditions just to add conditions. And you've been before me before June 13, 2019. There was a violation of condition number 1. And can you text off the record? Can you text her and let her know I see her in the waiting room and I'm gonna bring her in right after this? Oh, this one's different. Okay. All right, is that Vaughn? All right. So the probation officer for this case is going to be zooming in shortly. But June 13, 2019, there was a violation of condition number 1. And I denied the motion and altered remand conditions. And then September 24th, that really wasn't a violation on your part. That was just a request to change your address. And then we ended up having a contested hearing scheduled. And we came back in March. There was a violation of condition number 28. And that's when you were extended. And that's when you were told to enroll in the BIP course by March 9th. You either had a choice of doing the patch or either weekly UAs for 30 days and then random UAs thereafter. So you had a choice. You could have done the patch.
I chose the patch and I was waiting. That's when I went to ISF after that.
All right. And then
That was last year.
right. Then on October 25th, we had a violation of condition number 1. And the motion was denied. And that's when you went to ISF. And then we tried felony drug court. And then felony drug court, you were not allowed, because of your history. So the reason why you're on the UAs is because you haven't been doing what the court has been requesting of you. Online, we have the probation officer. Is there any objection to the probation officer appearing online for the court to see what your client has done? All right. Are you Drew Wallace? You're muted.
Can you hear me now, Judge?
Yes.
Thank you.
Can you raise your right hand for me, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you can lower your hand. Can you state your name for the record, please?
First name Drew, last name Wallace.
And are you the probation officer for Terrence Lee Scott?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
All right. Can you tell the court, the state is asking for revocation? Of course, the defense does not want revocation. She just wants her client to be terminated unsatisfactorily. What has he done?
So while on probation, so I obtained the case after the probationer completed state ISF. Upon completion of state ISF, he was placed into the ISP program. And while in ISP, he has not completed anything. The one big thing that I know in order to complete his probation was he needed to complete BIP and pay the restitution. And there has been no progress with that BIP course, and there has been no payment of that restitution.
Okay. So state is asking for revocation. What is probation's recommendation in this case?
Probation's recommendation at this time was for the probationer, is revocation as well.
All right. State or defense, do you have any questions of the officer?
Briefly. Mr. Wallace.
Yes, ma'am.
So you came on after the local ISO?
He completed state.
Okay, okay. I noticed that one of the recommendations is gang diversion program. What's the reasoning for that?
Gang diversion program is because after a review of a database called Text Gang, the probationer is a documented gang member of the Mandingo Warriors.
And let's see, and on June 14th, 2023, I guess I'm reading that the probationer was supposed to come to court that day.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and what happened that day?
As far as I was advised, the probationer showed up to court.
Okay, so that objection will be sustained.
Okay. Okay. No further questions, John.
Any questions?
Mr. Wallace, can you tell us what things that Mr. Scott has done and has completed?
Yes, I can. The probationer has completed state ISF. He did not qualify for the felony drug court. His safe PU was waived as well. He also completed 40 hours of community service, basically waived due to COVID vaccine. And he has also completed weekly UAs for 30 days back in 21, a TAP evaluation conducted in 2019, and then also completed dual diagnosis outpatient back in 2017, as well as completed BIP once in 2017 as well, and then provided a DNA sample as well.
Okay, and has he paid anything towards anything?
The last payment that I have on file for the probationer is back in February of 2023.
Okay, and when did you get assigned to this case? What's the date that you picked this case up?
Yes, let me go here. The probationer entered into ISP in December of 22, and I was also assigned to him at that time as well.
When in 2022, I'm sorry?
12/9/22.
And do your computer records show what he completed or what he did prior to 12/9/2022?
Yes, it does.
Okay, and those were some of the things that you just told us, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And is it your policy if people have not paid or have not completed programs, you recommend termination, or I'm sorry, you recommend revocation?
Not for lack of payments and things like that. Typically what we will recommend in those regards for like if there's still money to be owed to the court, we will recommend extensions and such.
But if they have not completed certain programs, you're gonna recommend revocation pretty much across the board, right?
Not necessarily, ma'am. It's a case by case basis.
Okay. And do you know how many days that Mr. Scott has spent in jail during this period of time, the last 4 to 6 years that he's been on probation?
I'm not aware of the total amount of time that he has spent in jail during his probation term. No, ma'am.
Okay, does your computer show that he has been incarcerated for different violations?
Yes, due to MTR warrants and things like that.
Okay, and also awaiting different types of whether or not he's going to be allowed into certain programs, waiting to see if feds are available.
Yes, ma'am.
Passing it.
Okay, and just briefly, you mentioned that he has not done anything, I think, under the ISP supervision. Is that when you took over?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah. Post release from ISF, he was placed into the ISP program, and like I said, that in consulting with the court, the court advised me that the two key things that they wanted the probationer to go ahead and complete was BIP and restitution, and I have neither progress on either of those.
Did you specifically inform him of that?
Yes, I did.
And did he seem to understand that?
Yes.
Where is Mr. Scott supposed to be residing on probation? Okay, and when was the last time that probation was able to verify that he was there?
That was back in May of 23.
Have there been any concerns as far as if he's still at that residency?
Yes, I received anonymous information back in June of.
Just 1 second. The objection will be sustained. I'm assuming it's to hearsay.
Yes. Okay.
All right.
And,
Sustained.
and just yes or no, not what they said.
Oh, yes.
Okay. No further questions, John.
All right.
Mr. Wallace, did you receive some kind of paperwork from Mr. Scott that enabled him to get on the waiting list for VIP?
Not to my recollection, no, ma'am.
You aren't aware that actually contained within the MTR that the judge has before her, it says he was 9th on the waiting list?
Is that for BIP or another
Yeah,
course?
that's for VIP. You're not aware of that?
He says he's 9th on the waiting list?
Yep.
Where, and you said that is on the court summary, madam?
Yes.
If you do not mind me asking, where do you see that on the court summary?
I don't have it in front of me, sir. The judge has it.
All right. Well, it's the court has read all of the documents.
That's something you were not aware of, correct?
That is correct.
We'll pass.
All right. Is there anything else for Mr. Scott?
No.
I'm sorry, Mr. Wallace.
No, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Wallace, for zooming in. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much, madam.
All right. All right. Is there anything else before the court makes its decision?
Judge, the only other thing that I'd like the court to know is Mr. Scott's wife is here, even though she's indicated in some of the violation reports. She thinks that he's a great dad. She likes him being.
All right.
able
And
to
what
see
is
his-
her name?
You know what, Judge? I don't have it in front of me. I
Is it
apologize.
Angelica Scott?
Yes.
All right. So when was the no contact order lifted on that? Because I ordered no contact.
The harmful contact.
No. I ordered no contact in my order.
I believe,
Let me
Judge,
see when
I believe it was amended to a no harmful.
All right, let me see where that was.
Oh, I wish we had Mr. Wallace.
Change of residence. All right, if you want to have her come forward. But if that no contact order was changed, it was not from me, it was from another judge, but she can come forward.
Honestly, I don't think she wants to come forward. To be
Okay.
honest, I'm just giving the court summary. that he has been supportive of the 4 children that they have together. They've been together. for a
Oh,
long-
she says she wants to come forward.
Okay.
Melissa, I just received a police report. I'm pulling it off. Yeah.
All right, state, is there a police report involving her?
Yes.
All right, then you may not want to testify.
It's fine.
Well, no, because let me
It's
just,
not,
let me just tell you some issues. If there's a police report where you call the police on,
Okay.
well, let me just finish, okay? If there's a police report and his counsel will be able to tell you this, if there's a police report where you call the police on him for any type of family violence or anything of that nature,
mhm.
and if you want to come before this court and say, everything's been going great, he didn't do what I called the police for. I haven't seen the police report. I don't want to know what it says. I've never seen the state or the police pursue charges against someone who accuses somebody of family violence, and then they want to come to court and say that they didn't do it. I have yet to see somebody have charges brought against them. But that being the case, if that is what that says, then what will end up happening is I'll need to have an attorney appointed to you to let you know there is a potential maybe for criminal charges.
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm assuming what you're going to come and tell me is that he's a great father. You want him in your life. You don't want him to go to prison.
No, ma'am.
Oh, you're going to be saying that you want him to go to prison?
I want him to get help.
Oh, okay. All right.
He is a great father.
Okay. No, because she's going to need an attorney to
It's not a
represent.
police report.
It's
It's not a police report.
It's an incident. I hadn't reviewed it. I just got sent it. It's an incident detail report.
What do you
All right.
object?
Could I see the report? Any objections to the court receipt, seeing what the report is about? So I'll know whether or not she needs an attorney.
It's not, she is not the reporting person.
Okay.
So, and it's a welfare check.
Right. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, so do we need her as a witness? She's gonna say he needs help. Does anybody want to call her as a witness?
I would like to call her as a witness.
All right, can you raise your right hand for me, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you can lower your hand, state your name for the record.
Angelica Maria Scott.
I'm sorry.
Can you repeat that?
Angelica Maria Scott.
State.
Ms. Scott, are you aware that Mr. Scott has been reporting to probation that he is residing, I believe with his, I forgot what he said, a mother or in San Antonio?
I'm gonna object to yourself.
All right, that'll be sustained.
When was the last time you saw Mr. Scott prior to today?
June 11th of 2023.
Okay. Do you recall the police getting called to your home on June 13th of 2023?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do you know sign language?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you sign to them that day when you opened the door?
Yes, I did.
And what did you tell them in sign language?
That he was there.
And why did you feel the need to use sign language instead of speaking?
Because Mr. Scott had told me that if he went back to jail, that his family was going to kill me.
All right. All right, I believe that's enough. Do you have any questions, defense?
Scott, what are you asking the court for today?
I want the court to give him help. I don't think a long-term sentencing is right because Mr. Scott does have a drug and alcohol problem around family members and friends. I tried to help him. I tried to get him help. He says he's grown, but he's a wonderful father. But as far as a spouse, no. I just want him what's best because He is there for my child. He's been there for my child since she was 16 months. And their bond is you couldn't tell that's not his child. I want help from him, but a long-term sentencing, no. If he can stay away from people, then I know he can be best. I know he can be better.
All right, thank you so much for letting me know. All right,
Oh, can I be dismissed?
sure.
Thank you.
All right, is there anything else from either side?
No, you're on.
All right, Mr. Scott. I want you to know that I listen to testimony. I listen to everything that everyone says. I give people chances when they're on probation. You've had a lot of chances on probation, and all you had to do was do what I was asking you to do. And this is, I think, 1, 2, 3. This is your 4th motion to revoke. And people will always come to me and you know what they say? Well, I can't go to prison because I'll lose my job. I don't know why people don't think about that when you're on probation. So the court is finding violation of condition 2 and 2 true. Court will grant the motion. And I want you to know your revocation is not because of the witness who just testified. This revocation is because of you and what you did not do, because you have a contract with the court. The contract is not with your attorney. It's not with the state. It's not with your family members. It's not with Ms. Scott. Do you understand? All right. The court is going to grant the motion. The court is going to sentence you to 10 years in the prison, give you credit for any time served, credit for any inpatient treatment. There's a $1,500 fine. Time and money to run it is to run concurrent. There's an affirmative finding of family violence. There's to be no contact with Angelica Scott, Amir, Amir Allen, Bashan, Binshawn Allen, Sirius, Sirius Allen. There's to be no contact with them. There's to be no contact with them through third parties. Do you understand? That's yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Going to show you what's entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendants' Rights to Appeal. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it? And did you sign it?
Yes, I'll read something.
All right. You have a limited right to appeal, and that right to appeal is as it relates to the allegations in the motion, not the fact that you are on community supervision. Do you understand?
So,
All right. And because this is a felony conviction, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition. And because this is an affirmative finding of family violence, you're also not allowed to own any weapons or ammunition. If you have a question over what that means, you'll need to speak to an attorney. Do you understand? All right. And I've given you credit for time and any inpatient treatment that you completed. All right. You're going to have, we can go off the record. You're going to have to do better. You understand? All right. Good luck to you.
It would be excused.
Yes.
Your Honor, we're ready